So, I was scrolling through the internet, as you guys know I do, and watching my favorite midget fitness influencer, Craig Duchette. Since I look up to him, at least mentally, maybe not physically, since he's only 5'6", but as a fellow Canadian, as you guys can see, I'm a demon for his content, watching all of his slop, and supporting the testosterone even. That he pushes harder than last time on every single goddamn video. Honestly, question whether or not I'm gaining any knowledge. I'm just getting psyopsed into buying more Turk from this dude every time. Anyways, come to find out, after Mike Ezratel is on his friendly arc,
Violence all the time.
instead of raging every time, my boy Greg Duchette had to find a new victim to troll and make videos on every day. And in this case, he found an easy target, Eddie Hall. Now, I used to look up to Eddie Hall when he didn't open his mouth so much and was just focused on strongman. But I think Eddie Hall is one of those people that accelerated in one field, lifting heavy objects, that is, and thinks that because of that, he's good at everything. Which is why he tried to become a bodybuilder, started doing MMA, and a bunch of other shit, which never worked out for him in the end. Bro, honestly, needs to stick to lifting heavy objects, bro. Instead of trying to fight YouTubers, especially my boy Greg Duchette. How could he do it like that? Greg Duchette will never back down, alright? He's like a fucking powerful little chihuahua who'll make 4 goddamn videos on every video make of him. And that's minimum. Getting to the juicy drama though, Eddie Hall spends half the video he made reading out ChatGPT and acts like he's making good points.
Greg Doucette knows so much about steroids because he has been an historic abuser of anabolic steroids throughout his bodybuilding and powerlifting career.
But in reality, this has nothing to do with what Greg Duchette here is criticizing Eddie Hall for. He's talking about how Greg used to sell steroids and how he's got an annoying voice and how his math is wrong. None of which really fucking matters, bro.
I've got to say that, I've just got to stop the video here. I've never wanted to punch a man in the face so much in my life just from the sound of their voice.
And I honestly don't even know if it's just me, since I'm a Greg Duchette fan. But even though Eddie Hall has a much deeper voice, I honestly feel annoyed every time this fucker talks. It's like he's so confidently wrong that just seeing Eddie open his mouth and utter any words is just disgusting to me. Then he goes on to argue about his body fat.
It was actually 27.1% to 20%.
And basically talks about how he's much leaner than Greg Duchette is giving him credit for. I can tell you that Eddie Hall here is, in fact, in reality, a fat fuck. And he just needs to stop coping and thinking he's less than 20% body fat. Like, how can you be a top tier strongman athlete and be so delusional about your own body fat, dude? I mean, I guess it makes sense though, since most of these strongmen competitors have a lot of fluff on them, alright? But I haven't seen any of them lying to themselves to the same degree as much as Eddie Hall is here. I think the problem here is that Eddie Hall here has always been a fluff monster. Ever since he was born, probably. Like, I'm sure the moment he came out as a baby, he was made to be perma-bulking, right? Like, he's never been on a cut, and so he doesn't really know how hard it is to actually get lean. And what he's doing doesn't even count, alright? That's why he tried to be a bodybuilder for some time, and then went nowhere with that. Because he must have at least subconsciously realized that there's no way that he's ever going to be able to get to single digit body fat. Maybe it's just not in his genes. Maybe he was just put on this goddamn earth to be a perma bulking freak. He just needs to accept that and stop arguing about the status of his body fat. And I think beyond just stupid things Eddie Hall says here, which are all ad hominem attacks on Greg Douchetti, rather than responding to what Eddie Hall is being criticized for, the lack of a response on his steroid usage is just disappointing in me.
Is he feeling incredible from the steroids, the cycle that he's on, or is it from losing 20 pounds? And so is it from cutting out the fruit?
Why does Greg keep mentioning steroids?
Especially in the big 2025, bro, just say it, alright? Like, I'm tired of the excuse people are saying that not talking about it is fine. As long as he's not denying his usage. But let's just be honest with ourselves, alright? By not just point blank coming out and stating the obvious that he's on hella gear, especially now he's trying to both lose body fat while gaining a shit ton of muscle. He's being disingenuous with his fans, alright? And people that are watching him. Especially because that is a big criticism that Greg Doucette has on him. And by dodging the biggest criticism that Greg Doucette has, that he is on increasing levels of steroids, it's just as good as lying to us and saying that he's not taking anything. Eddie, just come out with a video, dude. Just tell us what you're taking, and you'll gain some of our respect back. And you know what? Eddie Hall is cooked when most of his comments on his video are against him. These are your own fans. They're siding with Greg Doucette. That's how you know you messed up. One comment says, "This is the most soy I've seen Eddie Hall act." And I truly have to agree with that. Going to such low levels, making fun of Greg Doucette, when everything he said was true, made me lose respect for you, Eddie. And showed your petty side. And also another comment that I read, that I totally agree with, is that Eddie Hall is delusional about his health. He thinks that just because he can run fast and is able to have incredible feats of strength, that he's in fact healthy, which he even says in the video.
Athlete, like I train a minimum of 10 hours a week with cardio, weights, swimming, whatever else. I'm sorry, but that compared to the general public, that's fitter and healthier than 99% of the population. It is. I don't give a f what weight you are. If you're doing that amount of cardio and keeping fit, you're an elite athlete and you're in good shape. So I don't need Greg to fucking sit there and say you're not fit, it's not good for you. Look, man, body weight aside, it is. You know, if you're fit, you're fit. That's it. End of story.
But this is just not true at all, guys. I don't care if Eddie Hall here is 100% muscle or 100% bone or 100% fat. It doesn't matter. If you're closing in on 400 pounds as a 6'2" guy or 188 centimeters, it doesn't matter what your body composition is. Your heart does not care that most of it is muscle or whatever you think it is, Eddie. Your heart is going to have to pump so much harder to support your body when you have so many pounds on your 6'2" frame. And regardless of how stupid Eddie Hall is, I want him to have a long and prosperous life, just like his own fans. And if he actually cares about himself and wants to be healthy, he will lose mass in general, either through body fat or some muscles. And you know what the goddamn easiest way to do that is, guys? It's to stop being on such high levels of steroids and let your body be in the natural state you're put on this earth to be. Now, I'm not saying to stop fully everything. I understand that he needs to compete and that being a strongman is what he does for a living. But it's clear that the problem with these strongmen is they are never content. and that they need to become stronger and stronger every time, all right? And the only way to do that is to gain mass and go on higher and higher levels of steroids. Eddie, stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to your fans. Tell us the truth about your goddamn usage. And start taking care of your body, goddammit. No, being so big is not healthy. No matter how much you can run, lift, or swim, Eddie. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed that video on the Eddie Hall versus Greg Doucette drama, alright? Make sure to leave a like and comment whether you think Eddie Hall or Greg Doucette is right. Tell me out in the goddamn algorithm, guys. Make sure to sub too so you can see more of my goofy ass face. And peace out, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one.